Hi guys.
Hey guys, we're in Dallas.
Yeah,
Uh,
in the original
obviously,
half price.
yeah, and Lions being hosting me for Howard Days.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to say?
Uh,
What did you think? What did you think of Howard Days?
I thought it was awesome. I really loved it last year. So going again this year was great, and bringing you along was awesome because with two of us and the fact that Jeff was just so
So
nice to us.
gracious.
So yeah, accommodating I guess is the word.
Yeah,
He
totally.
just really helped us connect with a lot of people very quickly, and it was really fun. It was great. If you guys have never been, I recommend you do.
Highly recommend it.
Yes, sir.
I'm still at a loss of words
Yeah,
to think
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
I was reading
Sure.
Willard Oliver's book
Yeah,
last night. I was having a final dinner,
yeah.
uh, and I mean I think it's from a lack of sleep, but I kept becoming overwhelmed by emotion just
Yeah,
thinking of it all.
sure.
And then that first chapter right away, he has a very lyrical style to
hmm
the
Yeah,
biography. You didn't pick
sure.
it up, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
I haven't read Mark Finn's one either, so I just like I don't need two of them, right?
So right away, the first chapter, I think it's set. He kind of gives an outlay of Cross Plains in
Mm-hmm.
1932, but then all of a sudden, it's like, oh right, I was there. All
Yeah,
right, I can envision this.
sure,
Like
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's pretty awesome. So it was a good event.
yeah. For
Uh,
context, Cross Plains is basically three streets, and that's basically it. 900 people, seven churches, uh, and it's really small, but it's kind of interesting to realize, hey, like billions of characters flew from this tiny place. It's really cool.
in that tiny room, like
Yeah,
I'll post a video, and I think there's pictures online, and I think
sure.
Lion had maybe pictures last year,
Yeah,
but just this tiny room where the typewriter, the desk is, and and his bed. It was like a breezeway
sure,
add-on room,
sure.
and all that energy contained in that little,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was pretty cool.
yeah. I can almost imagine Robert E. Howard actually typing there and yelling. Yeah,
Keeping his parents awake at night too. Never
yeah,
mind the
for
neighbors.
sure.
And the panels were great.
Yeah, they're always interesting. There's about six panels total, and they're all different topics. Although they usually try to finish with the "What's New in Robert E. Howard World" at the end. That one's usually with Jeff. Um, but yeah, what were the panels this time? I can't remember.
I
There
know.
was
I have it written down on the
yeah,
agenda. I mean, was the highlight on the second day was Mark Wheatley's panel,
for sure.
and the overview of his art.
Yeah.
Because he's doing all the jackets
Uh,
for the Foundation press
yes,
releases.
sir. Yeah,
That's good.
for all of them.
Yeah. Uh,
And
I'm trying to think what we did. I mean,
yeah,
we've been so busy.
yeah,
So the first night, it culminated into a reading of some of the boxing stories. So there's a new Howard Foundation
yeah.
um, publication coming out focused on the
hmm
boxing stories, edited largely, I guess, by Chris Gruber.
Yeah, Chris and Finn, they
Yeah.
traded off their responsibilities because there's four volumes, um, and throughout it, they basically let you know. Mark starts with the kind of idea that Robert E. Howard wrote more than Conan. Then Jeff gives you a little bit of the setup for why he was reading or writing those types of stories. Basically, he was a fan of boxing,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like the major pastime. And then Chris Gruber really is the one that talks about the ideas that he was exploring, right? The idea of atavism, of that kind of concept that humans want to fight,
Right.
and that they like are excel at it, right?
Yeah.
And that there's something about some people that makes them better at it than others. And he even did a little bit of a dramatic reading. He did a cute voice for one of the female characters. And it was pretty funny.
Yeah, so I'll have a whole video on that. I
Yeah,
recorded it. The audio will be okay. It'll be representative of what the audio was like
in
when you're
person.
sitting in person in front of the Howard
Yeah.
House. But that was a nice presentation, and I also have some interview clips
Mm-hmm.
with Mark Finn
Sure.
and Chris
Sure.
addressing that event.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll post a video on that. The second
Yeah.
night culminated in the front porch poetry reading.
Yes, sir.
So often they'll try to have as many speakers recite Samaria in as many different languages as possible. So this guy
Did it in Spanish. It was pretty fun. It was the first time I'd read Samaria in Spanish, and so I was sight reading it, and I was kind of trying my hardest not to stumble over my words, because some of the language was just words that I never thought to say in Spanish.
or have seen translated
Yeah,
before.
yeah. So it was just a little difficult, but it was broadly speaking very, very fun. It was a spur of the moment kind of decision, and I did it, and it was great. And then there's a bunch of other people, including our good friend the Stygian Dogs here, that did it, and it was lovely. We also had someone do it in Gaelic.
Yeah, so we had I think you did it first.
Yes, sir, I did.
So in Spanish, then it
Then
was in
Billy Cavalier did it in English.
then in English, yep, and then Gaelic.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was really cool, by the way. Like the idea of listening to the Samaria poem in a language that might have been what Conan would have spoken to an extent, right?
yeah, it was interesting to think about it
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
context. And then I think Libby did it in German, right?
Yes, and Miss Barbara Baum did it in Italian as well.
And that was she did a great job
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
because she
yeah,
professed to not speaking Italian, but
yeah. But she did a good job with the
it was
pronunciation
great.
for sure.
So was that 5 languages?
Yeah, 5. Usually they try to aim for 10, but a lot of people that usually do it weren't there this year.
Right.
We were missing French, Japanese, and a few other ones. I can't remember what they were, but yeah, they try their best to get about 10 of them.
That was a great event.
Yeah,
The keynote speaker, I guess, at the banquet on the first night
was also Mark
was
Wheatley.
again Mark Wheatley.
Yeah,
He gave some great stories of his youth.
sure.
So I believe like some of this stuff will be posted. I know all the panels tend to be posted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who films them, but somebody with
I
the
think it was Ben.
foundation is it? Oh,
Yeah,
it was Ben,
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody with the foundation does film all the panels
Yes,
that
sir.
occur at the church. Those are always up annually.
Mm-hmm.
The poetry, we just recorded our own poetry readings. The lighting wasn't great for the setup that I brought, and because we used these lapel mics, it just wasn't feasible to pass them off to everybody that was there, which was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, because some people were really amazing.
Oh, it
that
was
young
fantastic.
guy,
Yeah,
his whole family was there. I can't remember. I guess it was just him and his dad. They were the only ones wearing the Conan shirts that were really into it. But he started, by setting our expectations low, and then
very
he
low.
knocked them out of
He
the park. He
exceeded
was
them.
amazing.
Everybody was really impressed.
Yeah, but I can't remember their names, so I can't shout them out.
Yeah.
But
so somebody did record that event. So hopefully it's posted online somewhere. If we catch wind of it, we'll share it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Um,
Yeah, it's a heck of a weekend because most of your time is spent just chatting with people.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, an hour's gone by, and you're like, "Oh, I got to go to the panel."
Yeah.
So you hop in the car and go to the panel.
Sure.
And then maybe there's another panel, and then you catch up with people again and things like that. It was fun. A follower or a viewer of mine, subscriber of mine, Chad, came by. So he was
Skeptic 47, I think is his tagline, something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be his YouTube handle.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
So he came down with two friends from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Ray, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and the other fellow was Chris.
Yeah.
Because I only met him on the second day. I didn't see him on the first
I
day.
talked to him about manga he could read that he might enjoy if he likes Conan. So
he was a really nice guy. I was pleased to meet all of them.
Very fun to meet all three of them for sure.
So your days are just filled with great conversation, and they fly by so fast. I think the first day we were out of there it was later than we thought, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then we had to go to an Airbnb that we rented in the pitch black, trying not to hit deer
or
driving.
Yeah, or run into Sasquatch, or even get abducted by aliens. It was like that sort of
we thought
darkness.
the aliens was going to happen for
sure.
Or some sort of death cult.
Yeah,
but we made out okay.
Yes, sir.
And of course we did a tour of the house. I've got that recorded, so I'll post that, see how that goes.
Yeah.
And the second day, it's much of the same as the first day. I mean, we've highlighted the end day events. The second day ends earlier,
slightly
earlier, like the official programming ends earlier, and then the unofficial programming is at the pavilion beside the Howard House. So it basically involves indulging in some beverages and just chatting with everybody that's there.
Yeah.
And we left that. I mean, we closed it up at midnight.
Yeah, we were basically the last ones there.
Yeah, we were the last ones there on midnight. The other days we left early, and we know like Jeff and company stayed up much later.
Yeah, they really hit the libations for sure.
Yeah. But it was a fantastic time. It was it was an unbelievable event. I can't imagine not going next year.
I hope so. No.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
Hey man, I'm always happy to drive you there. No worries.
I was priming my wife for it last night.
Yes, do so, please. But you have a whole year to work on it.
This is true. But she was like, "Oh, happy birthday!" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's going to extend."
Yeah.
And I think it's a period of change. It was kind of humbling to listen to the names of the people that we've lost.
Yeah.
in this community over the last couple of years. So I think it's a period of perhaps future reinvention and change. So a great opportunity for everybody to attend. At the banquet, they did ask how many newcomers were there or first timers. And what would you say? How many people?
It was about 50%, I would say.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
And it felt like the mainstays were impressed and a little bit surprised.
Billy definitely looked a little surprised by it, but I can't remember how they asked the question, because I can't remember if it was is this the first time that you attend the banquet or the first time that you attend the event, and that might be a little bit different, right?
This is true, but it was astonishing to see the number of newcomers that would have actually perhaps felt comfortable enough. Well, I suppose if you're making the journey, you would probably want to do the whole thing and sign up for the banquet.
And the banquet was lovely. The community made the food for us. It was very good.
Yeah.
Definitely home style cooking, but it was lovely.
Yeah.
And
there was a young fellow that received the scholarship. I wish I knew his name, but
I don't remember.
He was just super polite. But it was just so nice to see the foundation support the community.
Yeah.
So he was offered, I think it was a $2,000 scholarship for college, university.
And I think he said, I can't remember the name of the university, but it was basically in the bigger town next door, which is pretty cool.
And I think he said agricultural studies.
Yeah.
But there was a video I saw online regarding that from a couple months ago.
Sure.
So we'll find out details. We're going to do a series of videos on our own separate channels about our experiences,
and maybe a live stream or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we're fast friends now. We're definitely dog.
Yeah, worked out. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we had a great time, and I'm actually very humble for, you driving me around.
No, man, it's all good.
Orienting me with Dallas, and picking me up at Fort Worth. It was a heck of a time.
Sure.
It was something else.
Okay, what was like your one activity that you think was the highlight for you? I have my answer.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, you want me to go first?
You put me on the spot, so I got to think about it. Where you go? Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
So for me,
I think I know what it is.
Yeah, I like the panels quite a lot, and this year, because Willard wrote the biography, he had a panel where he was discussing. It was the Glen Lord Symposium. That was the panel. That was the name of the panel. Right. It was 3 different creators. It was Willard Oliver. It was Jeff Shanks and Bobby Deary, who's always. Or is it Bobby Deere or Bobby Deere? I think it's Bobby Deary, right?
Deary, yeah.
Yeah. He's always Jeff and him are always there. Willard Oliver sometimes is part of the panel, sometimes isn't. This year he was, because he did the biography, which apparently is quite good. Even Jeff was mentioning it.
Yeah, it's great.
And so Bobby Deary talked about how you should read the biography of Novelyn Price, or one of her biography of Robert, right?
Yeah, and how to read it and to authenticate it for us.
Yeah, and the different ways in which you could kind of approach that. And then I can't remember Jeff's topic. I think it was about world building.
It was about world.
Yeah, and Willard's was about the opinions of people in the 1930s about the police. And it's kind of a funny topic, but it's very scholarly, and it's interesting because he used the letters that Robert E. Howard shared with H.P. Lovecraft about their opinions on the police, and I thought it was a really interesting way of achieving that goal, right?
Yeah, it was a fantastic. I know he said it was a COVID pursuit of his.
Sure.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight. I'm going to reach out to the guys and see if we can get a copy of that. I mean, the highlights in this slideshow will be at the on whatever video is recorded.
Sure,
so if been recorded videos, it'll be available there.
Yeah, but that one was a great topic because it's something I wouldn't have thought was possible, or even would have never thought of approaching.
Yeah.
And the information we got out of it was pretty fun. Obviously, H.P. Lovecraft was pro-police in a very kind of understandable manner, and surprisingly, maybe not so surprisingly, based on Conan, Howard was not into the police. He was very much against them, and so it's funny. Like, if you look at it from a modern perspective, like, what labels would you apply to them, right? I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that was a great talk. I love that scholarly approach. And that was something we talked about later the next night. There's lots of opportunity for people to dig in different ways. It was the neat personalization they brought. I do think that the boxing presentation.
Yeah, that was great.
You'll see it when I post the video that Chris has just such a great presentation. And
he's so passionate about it.
Passionate about the sport. So that was definitely a highlight. Yeah, definitely. The banquet was a highlight too. I had a chance to talk to Rob Ream, who was a Black Circle Award winner last year.
Sure.
Obviously a very affable person. So I'm hoping to host him on the channel to basically tell me the story that he told me that night. But that was fantastic. And also seated beside us was Jay. From the Age of Conan.
Yeah, Jay Johnson. Group. Yes, sir. The Age of Conan. I can't remember if it's Age of Conan Unchained, I think is the name of the group. I can't remember, but it's the largest page on Facebook about Age of Conan. And he was such a passionate guy.
So passionate. And his wife was lovely. Hey, Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fantastic.
She got dragged against her will, basically, but she enjoyed herself, which is
willingly. Great. Lovely person. Yeah, so just a great event overall. I mean, things will percolate probably as I get on the plane this afternoon. Things will come to the fore as I think about it. So I'll be writing things. I have a busy week this week coming up, and there's a lot of video to go through. So I probably won't post something until, oh my goodness, next weekend. Maybe I'll get the poems up.
Yeah.
I'll post your poem as well on my channel.
Please do. Thank you.
But I think you'll have stuff up before.
Yeah, probably by Wednesday. I'm not really sure exactly when because I have stuff to do today and then I have schoolwork to deal with. But so did you like your first trip into Texas and your first trip into Howard Days?
It was great, man. Yes. It's been a whirlwind. It's funny, it doesn't feel much different than home, except for Fort Worth Stockyards. That feels very different than home.
And the heat.
And the heat. We're just not used to it yet. This is August weather in June, so I'm not used to that. Not used to that.
Yeah.
But I had a great time. So thanks so much, man.
For sure, man. Anytime.
Yeah. On my part, until next time, take it easy, you Stygian dogs.
All right. See you later, guys.